So regarding your performance, maybe this is nothing new, but you always seem to have a nice combination of you're very calm, cool as a cucumber. You have very creative style as far as striking, your submission game, your footwork. Can you talk about that? Is this who you've always been as a fighter, or?
I just do my best to learn from. I feel very fortunate to have learned from some of the very best martial artists in the world and their discipline, and I think that's something that believed in for a long time, because I was one of the better jiu-jitsu guys in the world when I started mixed martial arts, but I had nothing else. But I feel like had an appreciation for at least the value of being decent at one thing, and then trying to track down, like world caliber wrestlers, the best strikers you can find, and also sometimes like the little offbeat esoteric-y ones that maybe people don't necessarily always appreciate. Maybe it works in its context or it doesn't work over here, but if you have surrounding skills, you can do some interesting things, and I feel fortunate to have been able to learn from a lot of the best coaches, Firas Zahabi, Kenny Florian, people with deep, unbelievable levels of mixed martial arts experience, and then combine it with Stephen Thompson, Ray Thompson, Raymond Daniels, some karate style, taekwondo style people, and of course I have a great deal to learn and carry on with, but just try to be different and fight in a way that I feel is authentic, and all you can do is be yourself.
You speak about working with the best. You walked out with Kenny Florian.
Yes.
Can you talk about that? How was that, walking out to the octagon with him?
Man, an absolute honor. Kenny is someone that I've looked up to, since he started doing mixed martial arts. He was on Ultimate Fighter when he was 30, and I was on Ultimate Fighter when I was 30. We were both like the American guy in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game, starting late, trying to catch up. He has a college degree, I'm a bum, but basically that's a significant departure. But much classier, that guy. But anyway, to have Kenny support. One day I just shot him a message. He was a grappling tournament, like a guest commentator, and he actually did a great job, shockingly. And I just sent him a message saying, man, I really appreciated how well that was done, because a lot of times it's not. And he actually messaged me back, and I said, I just asked him if I might be able to stop by and train with him, because he's someone, in the mixed martial arts game I've always looked up to, and shockingly he said yes. It turns out, he's an unbelievable coach, super nice guy, just helped me out of the kindness of his heart, and he changed my life MMA-wise, and so is Firas Zahabi. I started working with Firas in 2012, started working with Kenny in 2014, and without them, I don't know what I'd do.
You mentioned Ultimate Fighter. You actually helped coach with Uriah Faber on his team.
Well, after a fashion,
I'm just wondering, you taught Team Alpha Male guys the heel hook going into this. Did you ever worry that Elkins might try to pull the move on you? That you actually taught him?
That would be deeply ironic, and so you always go like, the universe has a sense of humor. You're like, this might happen,
Right.
But it's like there's never traffic except when you're trying to get somewhere, that type of thing. But I was fortunate to be a student on the Ultimate Fighter when I was there. I learned a lot from the guys at Team Alpha Male. Learned a lot from Faber. It was a great experience, and obviously Darren Elkins is a great fighter, an excellent fighter with a fantastic resume and an unbelievable amount of experience, significantly more mixed martial arts experience than me. So him pulling off a submission is not out of the question. But ultimately, you believe in your skills and you know what you're doing, and I've been one of the best footlockers and jiu-jitsu guys on planet Earth for some time. And if someone else gets me, man, they deserve it. There's no magic.
You say that the universe does crazy things. I think that's what a lot of people thought when they come see Ryan Hall, the master striker, pulling out spinning techniques and dropping Elkins.
I just twitch at people and spin around a lot, man. I watch Bloodsport like 14 times a day, bless you. So it's try to do something a little bit different, and I think that's something that you look at GSP, you look at Demetrius Johnson, you look at John Jones. They always bring the people that we look up to that have been so transcendently successful. They are who they are, but they always have just something a little bit different. And of course, there's many great fighters that exactly what they are, and they bring this specific thing to the table and stop it if you can. But it's nice to have that's plan B as opposed to the only thing you got, and we just try to make sure we keep on learning, and I feel fortunate to be around some phenomenal thinkers in the martial arts, and they really help point me in directions that they think might allow me to grow.
And does Darren's fighting style sort of help with some of the techniques that you throw? He's definitely a very, I'm going to come forward and go straight into your face sort of fighter.
Oh, most definitely.
So did that help some of the techniques that you were able to throw out there at him?
Maybe. You try to do things that fit the opponent, and you never quite know, because you can't be sure. You see the video, and you're like, I think that's the guy that I'm fighting is the guy that's going to be on video. But every now and then, someone comes in there and just the feel is different than you thought, or they take an approach that's different for you, and that's something that I always think about a lot, because I'm such a different look than most people, than pretty much any fighter they may have had 25 fights against excellent opponents, but I'll be a different type of feel for them, so I can never really be sure. Even if they've approached other people like in this format, they might approach me differently. So when it came to Darren, I just tried to do things that I felt would try to keep him out of doing the things that makes him as Darren Elkins-y as possible. Because if he gets to play his game the same way anybody at this level, it's going to be a tough one, you know. And I think that's always, again, you look at GSP, you look at John Jones, they always manage to take away what you do from you, and we do our best to do the same.
You know, after you won the Ultimate Fighter, you know, you didn't fight for a while, but you know, now you're far more active. What is it that changed that, you know, got you to be more active now?
You know, now I'm having the opportunity to fight great opponents. You know, I fought Gray Maynard. Well, my first fight off of the Ultimate Fighter was supposed to be a guy named Alex White, very tough guy, who's up at lightweight now, I guess. But he was injured, and that would have been in July. Still a 6-month layoff, which I like, frankly. Doing this every 3 months thing is not for me. You know, I think, you know, I respect the heck out of the people that do it. It's really neat. But certainly as a developing athlete and a developing martial artist like myself, you know, I have a long way to go, and I'm very ultimately inexperienced in the mixed martial arts game. You know, taking a fight every 3 months doesn't give you the time to make the growth in your game, and that's something that I learned from my time in jiu-jitsu. I would compete. I remember my first MMA fight, which was actually an amateur fight that they called professional, which is really obnoxious. That's where the loss on my record is. But basically, I did 8 jiu-jitsu tournaments in the 10 weekends preceding it, which that's not the reason I lost. I got beat up because I wasn't good at fighting. But basically, it was neat. You're sharp, but you're not developing. I guess I would say you're competitively used to it, but you're not developing as an athlete. So I try to take the time in between fights now to learn and grow. And you know, again, like you said, I was able to train with Raymond Daniels, you know, prior to this one, and that really helped. And train with Kenny a lot, Faraz. I can go here, go there, make the developments I need to make, and also like be terrible at something for a little while, try something new and go like, well, hey, we went down a rabbit hole, that wasn't the right one, and then you don't find yourself doing that 3/4 of the way into fight camp and going, holy crap, we have to put it all back together. It gives you time to be able to experiment, and I try to do that. But now we're a little more active, and I'd really like to fight December 7th in Washington D.C. at the end of the year. That'd be a dream come true. That's my hometown, and to have the opportunity to do that against a great opponent would be great. And the reason that I'm back now is because I'm getting to fight opponents like BJ Penn, like Darren Elkins. You know, I respect the heck out of the fighters at the top level of the UFC, and I understand that sometimes people don't think it's worth getting in the ring with me for whatever reason. They don't think I'm challenged, or they don't think I'm well known, or something like that. But you know, I mean, I'm not complaining about what I get paid or anything like that. I feel fortunate to be able to do this for a job. But the reality is, no one's paying you enough money to take risks for your health just for doing it. You know, when you get in there, I would have fought Darren Elkins for free. I'm glad that I don't have to. But it's one of those where like it's an existentially valuable thing for me as a martial artist, and I want to fight the best and know that I was in there when it mattered. And you know, you take your lumps, win, lose, draw, but you know that you fought the fights that matter, and that's what I'm here for. And as often as the UFC can provide that, I will be in that ring.
You know, all due respect to Damian Maia, you know, he's also always been considered such a great jiu-jitsu practitioner. Would you consider yourself maybe a leveled up version of his style?
I can't say anything about like that. You know, I mean, the Damian is unbelievable. I believe that Damian is the most successful, and I would say in many ways, you know, best is a hard thing to say because, you know, success, you know, competitive outcome and the skills of the people, particularly like this is a one-off. Darren could have won tonight. You know, it's not a best of 7. It's like the Golden State Warriors are not going to lose to the number 8 team.
Yeah.
Unless it's March Madness, and then baby, anything can happen because it's a one-off, and you can happen. And then also imagine they get down in the first quarter by enough to like, this game's over, and that's how fighting can happen. You don't get the opportunity to come back. So Damian has been so unbelievably successful for so long against great opposition. I would never claim to anything, but I would just say I try to learn my lessons from people like him that I look up to and that I respect, and you do your best to take a step in your own unique direction and hope that we can make it happen. But you know, Damian has been you know, carrying the banner for the jiu-jitsu community for a long time, and I don't really have any interest in doing anything like that. I just want to fight for myself and to do my best, but you know, I want to be a little bit different.
Thank you.
So, what do you have in mind next? I know you already said you want to be on the DC card, but maybe somebody who's on a streak, somebody who's ranked, somebody who's hot right now.
Well, Darren Elkins was ranked when I signed to fight him. He was ranked number 14. He was as high as 10, I think, this past year. You know, I'd like to fight someone in the top 10 now. I think that I've earned that right. You know, I think with another 10, 15 seconds in the first round, this fight would have been over. You know, I mean, but again, that's you know, if you know, up was down, then down will be up, that type of situation. So, you know, you can't really say. But at the same time, you know, I believe that I performed well. I've done my best. You know, I have some time to grow and learn in between now and that fight. But you know, I came here to fight the best. I eventually want to fight all the people. I'm not into calling people out. I'm not into disrespecting anyone. The people that I want to fight, they know who they are because they're at the top. They're the good ones, and I don't. That's all I can say. You know, and just because someone doesn't have a number by their name doesn't mean that they're not a really tough fighter, because obviously everybody Max Holloway was once an unknown. But I'd like someone in the top 10, and I'd like that in December.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.